We're going to make the department work better for the veterans, families, caregivers, and survivors we are charged with serving. And here's how we're going to do it. In response to President Trump's Department of Government Efficiency and Workforce Optimization Initiative, VA is conducting a department wide review of its organization, operations, and structure. Central to these efforts is a pragmatic and disciplined approach to eliminating waste and bureaucracy, increasing efficiency, and improving health care, benefits, and services to veterans. This will be a thorough and thoughtful review based on input from career VA employees, senior executives, as well as the top VA leaders. Our goal is to reduce VA employment levels to 2019 in-strength numbers, roughly 398,000 employees, from our current level of approximately 470,000 employees. Now, that's a 15% decrease. We're going to accomplish this without making cuts to health care or benefits to veterans and VA beneficiaries. VA will always fulfill its duty to provide veterans, families, caregivers, and survivors the health care and benefits they have earned. That's a promise. And while we conduct our review, VA will continue to hire for more than 300,000 mission-critical positions to ensure healthcare and benefits for VA beneficiaries are not impacted.
Okay, so that's VA Secretary Doug Collins on March 7th, where he was explaining how VA, because of Doge, is going to cut 15% of their workforce to a 2019 level. Why 2019? Well, it's right before Biden took over. This was in March. You could tell from that announcement, and it's a long one. I cut it all off. They have no idea, okay, who they're going to cut back in March or why they're going to cut it, except they got to cut. And it doesn't math, okay? The math don't math. You're going to hear that a lot, okay? The math doesn't math. If you cut 50% of the VA workforce, yes, you will affect healthcare. Because you know why? More than 15% of the people who work at VA are in healthcare or whatever it is. Well, I'm not a math guy. That's why I do this for a living, right? Okay. 85% is what they're going to have left. More than 85% of the people who work at VA are in the healthcare field or processing our benefits they get done or doing the admin part of running healthcare. So when you say you're going to cut 15% but not affect healthcare, it's a lie. That's all there is to it. It's a lie. And that's way back in March. And so that's why we're having a special episode. I'm sitting here in a hotel room, as you can see. It's not our usual stylish, cool studio. This show is a little more, as my friend Joe Plenzler says, my guest coming up, we're a little bit more punk rock this week, okay? I'm sitting in a hotel in Washington, D.C., getting ready literally within minutes to go over to the National Mall to speak and participate in the organization that I set up with a bunch of friends as part of the organization called Unite for Veterans, Unite for America. So this is a little bit of a pre-show, even though you'll be seeing this tonight at 7 o'clock Eastern. I had to do it during the day because I think I'm going to still be on the podium at 7 o'clock. Hopefully we're done by then, but you never know. But I wanted you guys to see a little bit behind the scenes, talk about why we're all doing it today and why it matters. And it starts with that March 7th statement from VA Secretary Doug Collins. It starts there. So I'm going to explain a little bit about what that means, just a little bit, because they're not all veterans, but why we march, why we're the three things that are driving us to do this today. Again, I'm really excited to be here in DC again. So let's get on with the show. Again, I am Fred Wellman, host of On Democracy X Wellman. You're right here on the Midas Touch Network. Let's talk. All right, welcome back. I am still Fred Wellman, host of On Democracy X Wellman. You're right on the Midas Touch Network. It's so good to see so many of you. Hopefully, I can jump online and say hi to you guys. We'll be recovering from our long day in the heat. Washington, D.C. is supposed to hit 88 degrees today. We're expecting upwards of 10,000 or more people today for Unite for Veterans, Unite for America. 10,000 possibly, maybe more. You never know. It's free. There's no tickets or anything like that. So we hope a lot of people show up. I understand they're already setting up here. I'm recording this so you guys know at 10 a.m. Eastern. It's a very big day. We've been working on it for 3 months now. And back to the topic there, we're doing this event for three big reasons. A group of veterans, we got together about 2 months ago. All of us have known each other for a decade or more. And we started talking, saying we're all frustrated. And it reminds us of the Bonus Army March. If you're not familiar with the history, the Bonus Army occurred in 1932. It was when World War I veterans marched on Washington, D.C., demanding their bonuses from World War I. And the government decided that they wouldn't get those paid until 1945. This is the very beginning. And then, of course, the Depression hit. So they were saying, look, give us the money now so we can take care of our families. And thousands of veterans descended on Washington, D.C. And what they did was they protested, demanding their bonus. And it's called, became known as the Bonus Army. And so we thought, we should do a 2025 version of the Bonus Army. Now, we're not going to camp out in the National Mall or cause any problems. The Bonus Army ended in violence when the President Hoover demanded they leave, and he sent the army in to clear the bonus camps. They had a shanty town on the wall. We don't want that. Okay. So we decided to hold a peaceful and patriotic rally on the National Mall. And we're setting up now. I can actually show you some stage, some photos. Here's the stage setup today. We're gonna have I'll be staying on that stage probably about 6 o'clock tonight. We were setting it up yesterday. Here's this all the organizers on the stage yesterday. We're really excited. I mean, the location's incredible. Right there in the National Mall behind the Air and Space Museum. It's really cool. Here's a quick video of the setup too, so you can kind of see what we're doing. It's a quiet day yesterday. I imagine it's not quiet anymore. I understand. I'm already getting text messages of people saying they're showing up. So, but why are we doing this? There's three main reasons. Our three main messages are simple. We are demanding that the VA does not cut or damage the health care of our veterans who've earned their health, earned their benefits, earned their health care. We're demanding stop the firing of so many federal employees who are veterans, especially over 1/3 of the federal workforce are veterans. And finally, we want to stop the attacks on our Constitution that all of us swore an oath to multiple times in our military careers. It's very simple. We are standing up for everyone. This isn't even a political rally per se. It is going to be apolitical. We're saying, look, these are the things. Benefits, veterans have been promised benefits, have been promised health care, and there's just no way. You saw Doug Collins. It makes no sense. What's happened since 2019 is the PACT Act was passed. The PACT Act was the largest expansion of veterans health care since the Vietnam War. Over 1 million veterans were added to the benefits rolls. 750,000 got free cancer screenings. That's information of 8 months ago. It's even bigger now. And the VA, under President Biden and the previous administration, added 65,000 new employees to handle that. And by every measure, they succeeded by bringing all these new veterans in. It was very smooth operation. They've increased. Then they fixed their website. You can do your entire application on the website now. It's been a huge change. The VA has improved in every single measure. But if you listen to the people in the Trump administration, that's all a lie. It's a disaster. Wait times have gone up. Everything's bad. Everything's bad. And they're playing in the stereotype of the VA being a disaster. And they're using veterans, especially amongst us, who don't even use the VA for the most part. It's a constant battle of truth versus lies. And the truth is, the VA is the second largest health system in America, or the largest health system in America. It's got some of the highest ratings of any health system. It actually has the highest ratings of any health system in America. Over 86% approval in current surveys. People are doing very well. And there's a reason we have VA healthcare. It started with President Lincoln. But on top of that, it's the idea that veterans have very unique healthcare needs. Many of them are rural. Many of them are senior. The average American veteran is 58 years old, like me. Okay. It's an average male, 58 years old. So our problems we have with healthcare, my bad back, my fake knees, we have different care. So there's a reason. That's on top of the hundreds of millions of dollars of research into suicidality, into care for cancers, unique cancers because of burn pits. All that's part of the VA. And for years now, the Republicans have been trying to dismantle the healthcare system and privatize it. Their dream is to turn the VA into an insurance company, and they just give money to veterans, go out the pro. And that sounds good. I mean, you're probably thinking to yourself, what's the big deal? That sounds great, but it's not. Many veterans are rural. Many veterans don't have access to special care. We have nursing homes specially done for veterans. And the uniqueness of veterans health care at the VA cannot be duplicated. A friend of mine, you'll hear some stories here with my friend Joe Plenzler. So a group of us about 2 months started coming together, and we started putting together this idea of having a rally on the National Mall. And here we are. It's June 6th, 81st anniversary of D-Day. We thought that was a very symbolic date. It's going to be very important. We're hoping thousands will show up. So I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about that today, kind of get you involved in it so you know what we're going to do. I hope you watched it before this, but I'll give you a little behind the scenes of how we set this thing up. And the perfect person to talk to is my good friend Joe Plenzler. Joe is a retired Marine Lieutenant Colonel. I, of course, was an Army Colonel. Lieutenant Colonel. We were both public affairs officers. Joe's been kind of handling our media for us. Incredible job, by the way. We have over 45, 40, I guess 50 now media hits in major newspapers around the world, around the country, before we even go on the stage. It's to be a very cool event. Dropkick Murphys are going to be there performing their new song, Who Will Stand With Us. They're doing a full electric set on that cool stage. It's going to be a very cool event. If you missed it already, it's going to be here on the Midas Touch Network. It's going to be live streamed on the Valor Media Network, our sister station with Ken Harbaugh's operation, and everywhere else. I'll put a link up on my social media too as well so you can see it. But if you missed it, I hope you'll catch at least part of it. I think I'm the last speaker. Hopefully there's people still there. At that point, we'll see. I guess you'll know by now if I made it to the stage at all, if it didn't thunderstorm or anybody's still in the crowd by the end of that thing. But I am the final speaker nonetheless. But I wanted to involve you guys in a little bit, kind of give you a quick show here while I'm on the road. You can see this interview with Joe's a little bit different than we usually do. We just threw a camera up in our hotel room and talked. But it's important conversation. So let's go ahead. I'll introduce you to Joe and let's have a conversation with Joe. All right. Hey guys, farewell. And not our usual on democracy. We are Gonzo is my we're just making up as we go. Welcome to On Democracy with FP Wellen. Friday, I'll have a little. You already heard all about this, where we are and what we're doing. As I mentioned previously in the intro, I'm in Washington D.C. for the Unite for Veterans rally. My good friend Joe Plenzler, we'll introduce in a second, is running our media stuff and a good dear friend of mine for many years going back. I thought we'd just sit down as we get ready for the day. Obviously, as I mentioned in the intro, you're seeing this after the rally. So I thought I'd spend my day here Thursday and Friday kind of showing you behind the scenes. Hopefully you watch the rally, you will, and see why we're doing this. So a lot going on right now. Elon, as we write this, Elon and Trump are the lot thing breaking up. Yeah, the bromance is. Everyone's like, well, there goes the news for the week. Well, we'll try to do a show. Who was that? Yeah, I did. So, Joe, we were talking. So good to see you again, brother. I know you guys are going to laugh. He just rolled into DC. We haven't seen each other about 10 years. It's just crazy, and how did you get dragged into? Who reached out to you to get dragged into this? Was it Will? Yeah. So we all got dragged into this by our friend Will Attic. I had gotten calls from a couple. We all found each other and kind of just brought a team together. And that was just 2 months ago. Go ahead.
And I think a lot of us are history buffs, right?
Yeah.
I remember after the election, you kind of, swallowing and digesting everything that happened and believing the guy, we're doing the stupid dance again.
Yeah.
I called Will or talked to him and said, hey, I think 2025 is going to need a bonus army. And other people have been,
the word's been kicking around.
It's like this group of vets who all have banded together and worked on different projects over time. We're kind of saying the same thing. And it was just like, Will was the one to kind of light the fire on it and make it a real thing, So, it's just awesome because this is the most punk rock group. It's just like we're like sick of waiting for a hero to come along.
Yeah.
It's like, you got to look in the mirror and do it yourself.
Yeah. And that's what I love about this group is it's truly grassroots. I mean, what happened is, Will's with Union Vets.
Yeah.
We got Chris Purdy's with Chamberlain Network.
Yeah.
And they've kind of brought their teams. They have got,
company,
you got your company. I've got my thing, and everybody involved in one place has come in, done this all volunteer, always getting paid. Everybody's doing pro bono work. No, just the contractors getting paid. Bought a bunch of people from my friends who vote vets over. And now we've raised over $300,000 of average today in 2 months.
Yeah.
A lot of that grassroots.
And 1,000 people expected.
Yeah.
More than 45 media hits. I mean,
that's incredible. I mean,
Dropkick Murphys.
So Joe's with, we have punk rock. Joe's into our media, 45 media hits before we ever hit the stage. Yeah, incredible. Which shows, I mean, let's talk the issue. I mean, it just shows the interest, right? Like one of the things we've been saying a lot, and people watch the show know I say a lot, is for reasons we can't explain. And this has just happened in the last 6 months. Obviously, it's June.
Yeah.
We veterans keep finding ourselves in the middle of all this, right? Like every issue seems to find its way from, and when we started this process, we all talked, we were on the phone together. I said, look, we all agree there's 3 big issues. They're trying to dismantle the VA and veterans healthcare. They're firing veterans because 1/3 of the federal workforce are veterans. So thousands of veterans being fired from their federal jobs. And they're attacking our Constitution. The things that we swore. Joe was a lieutenant colonel like me, Marine Corps. I was a lieutenant colonel in the Army. We swore, that means we swore the oath of the Constitution a bunch of times, and those words have meaning to us. And so we all agreed that's the simple message, but it really goes to that the veteran, our community just seems to find ourselves in the crosshairs of this no matter what Trump says, right?
Yeah, and I think every generation has had to fight for their rights and benefits. If you go all the way back to the Revolutionary War, Daniel Shays and those boys had to fight for what was coming to them too. So I think, it's like my friend Patrick in Chicago, he and I went to infantry officer school together, boxed, knocked the shit out of each other in the ring. And he was just like, there's so many of us out here who are just waiting for orders.
Yeah.
He said, we are not happy with what's going on. We're waiting for orders. We need somebody like, an inspirational figure like Mattis or somebody to come around and tell us what to do and how to get involved. And I'm like, bro, look in the mirror. Like, you're it.
It's not happening.
You're it. Like, it's up to us.
Yeah.
It's up to us.
Yeah.
And so get involved at your local level.
Starting a business is very hard. You're going through everything with like finding out your logo, building your website, getting your point of sale set up, your inventory, supply chains these days. Don't get me started about that. When my family started a business 12 years ago in a small town in Virginia, that was one of the big challenges we had. How do we find a point of sale that works? How do we run an online store? How does it all integrate with our social media channels and everything else? And we were just glad that we finally found a partner that worked so well for us. And that's where Shopify comes in. Shopify is a commerce platform behind millions of businesses around the world. And it's 10% of all e-commerce just in the US alone, from household names that like Mattel and Gymshark, to brands just getting started, or brands you should know like Sugar and Spruce in Fredericksburg, Virginia. You can get started with your own design studio with hundreds of ready-to-use templates. Shopify helps you build a beautiful online store to match your brand's style. Now, you accelerate your content creation. Shopify is packed with helpful AI tools that write product descriptions, page headlines, and even enhance your product photography for you. You can get the word out like you have a marketing team behind you. Easily create email and social media campaigns whenever your customers are scrolling or strolling, and it integrates directly into your point of sale system. And best yet, Shopify is your commerce expert with world-class expertise in everything from managing inventory to international shipping to processing returns and beyond. So if you're ready to sell, you're ready for Shopify. So that's where we come in. Turn your big business idea into... That's right. Sign up for your $1 per month trial and start selling today at shopify.com/Fred. That's go to shopify.com/Fred. One more time for those at home, shopify.com/Fred. You can start your business now and grow it successfully.
That's what you can. Tend your own garden.
Yeah.
And make a difference where you can. Fred and I are kind of fortunate because we've been able to build some pretty significant networks and contacts over the years. Can pick up phones and call people to make stuff happen but that was a lot of hard work and relationship management.
Yeah.
We did.
And the frustration we're hearing, what they're doing, they're so brilliant. This Trump administration is so brilliant at the lies and the gaslighting. And so one of the funny things is, yeah, exactly. So one of the news stories that came out that we again, because of Joe, we got on these news stories, and one news organization, and the headline said that, veterans will march to stop the dismantling of their benefits. And the VA themselves called the reporter saying, you need to change that headline. Yeah. We're not going to get rid of their benefits.
Right.
But their health care?
Yeah, it's like, wait a minute. Yeah.
There's more than just that. It's just this clever word game they're playing.
Yeah.
And
I was sitting on the toilet the other day drinking a cup of Dr. Pick it up. Like,
multitasking as one does.
And it's math and you fucking adding up. And I was like, let me do it. So I pulled the VA documents and I'm like, if you're going to cut 83,000 staff out of VA, you're getting rid of the entire headquarters, 16,000. You're getting rid of the National Cemetery Administration. You're getting rid of all of the Veteran Benefits Administration, right? And then you still got to cut 7% out of VHA. So I'm not freaking Albert Einstein or Stephen Hawking, but I can do simple arithmetic.
Right.
And even if you cut 17% out of all three of those, you're still impacting veterans' healthcare. And and this is the thing, Fred and I are getting calls from inside the house. It's like the horror movie.
Right. We have our contacts in the VA or in the headquarters.
They're like, happen to know. And in fact, a buddy of mine, Mike, out in San Francisco, Vietnam vet, Marine, and his VA doctor last week told him, he said, hey, I know we were going to replace your knee in the fall. He said, you're coming in 2 weeks because I don't know if the staff or the money is going to be there this fall to do that operation. So come in 2 weeks. I got a opening in my schedule. So, if the VA docs are saying that, right, and the veterans are saying that, and, it's like the veterans are going into their appointments, checking in on the VA docs, like, hey, bro, are you okay?
Yeah, no, I've heard that too. It's like they're literally calling. I can't say how many of my friends have said that they check in because they're traumatized. They're being attacked, and
maligned. I mean, that's the thing. Scott Cooper said it best. He's like, hey, these folks who work in our federal government, 1/3 of them who are veterans, are not like these mindless bureaucrats. Most of them are patriotic, civil servants, right? Who can be making more money outside of doing stuff. They want to serve their country again. With veterans, they're serving their country a second time.
Yeah.
And they deserve our respect.
Yeah.
And, okay, you can make the argument that any bureaucracy needs some downsizing. Sure. Great. There's two ways to do it. One way is with a very careful study to look at it, really see like is current, personnel meeting current tasks. Could technology change some of these things? Granted, that's a long, like thoughtful process. You do that surgery with a scalpel and an anesthesiologist in an operating room, and you cut very carefully the parts that you don't need, and then you put new stuff in.
Have a plan.
Yeah.
They've rehearsed it. They know.
What these motherfuckers are doing is taking a chainsaw to the federal government, right, willy-nilly, and just being like, well, let's just cut off all the people in the National Park Service who were hired within the last 2 years or whatever. And it's just like, in one organization, like, and I do, work with a lot of businesses.
Yeah, so he actually works as a civilian one.
You actually like cut the bottom off the staffing triangle.
Right.
You cut diagonally through it, right? And that's not what they're doing, right? Have they, decide to consolidate, the deputy undersecretaries? No, I bet you those motherfucker staffs will be all right.
What's interesting about it is the way he did it was like, if anybody's ever worked in a corporation, you don't just say, hey, we're going to cut 70,000 of you. We're not going to say who it is.
Yeah.
And it's we're going to study, it's a number. We made a number up, and the number just happens to be before the Biden administration. That's a coincidence. Before the PACT Act, which added 1 million veterans to the rolls. Yeah. Then they say, but there'll be voluntary retirements if you want them. And the goal is to force people out, to make them feel like it's a game of chicken. Do I wait till I get fired? Right. Make it miserable. Then they fight each other.
Right.
And what they discovered in this process is, and we saw the numbers recently, we were talking about it, that the people who can get other jobs leave, which is nurses. Yeah. Never enough nurses. Yep. Psychologists. Never enough psychologists in the world. Yep. Doctors. Yep. It's not the lady who does the process on your VBA claim, but they're trying to claim they're not hurting our benefits. But they've already admitted they're going to delay benefit processing. They're saying there's a wait time, but they're drawing it out.
Yeah,
it's
like justice.
Yeah,
benefits delayed,
right,
or benefits you don't get.
Exactly.
Right?
And I'm convinced, and we're convinced, the goal here is to destroy VA health.
Yeah,
that the goal is to increase outsourcing it to private healthcare, because we're seeing them dismantle veterans healthcare. And there was a budget, somebody sent us a budget number. Did you see that today? Yeah, they're cutting veteran health.
How you do that shit earlier to that. So it's that, but hit it. It's like they're saying, hey,
God, on my phone still.
The budget's going up. We're increasing the budget by something like 10% over last year.
Yes.
But they're cutting staff.
But they're cutting
where's the money going?
Yep.
And I think it's going to healthcare CEOs. I think they're trying
they're trying to
like they did last administration, because I'm old enough to remember when like the veteran community as the VSO said, hey, keep Dave Shulkin in there. He's half perfect, but he's working with us. We like him. Yeah. The long knives came out for him. And then next, Isaac Arnstorff comes by and does his investigative reporting. Yeah. Find out the VA is reporting to guys like Ike Perlmutter, the Marvel comic.
Yeah, the Marvel guy.
Is giving direction on veterans health.
It's also, I'm not even going to find it, but what they've done is they've cut. They've in their budget is veterans health care goes down by 10 billion, and discretionary and outside care goes up by 10 billion. They're telling us in the numbers that their intention is to cut actual inside VA health care. Yeah, that's why they keep saying we're not cutting your benefits, but your benefits going to mean you go find a doctor. And this sounds good. I know a lot of you are sitting here saying, well, what's the big deal? I go to a private doctor, I get private health insurance. Why can't veterans just get private health insurance? Well, you have to understand what the VA does, right? The VA has so we were literally just sitting down. Yeah. I was bitching about my fucked up back because I have if you guys remember, I disappeared for a while because I had surgery in December, which didn't fix everything. Mm-hmm. So I spent the last half hour laying on my ass. But doctors at the VA understand, you were a scout pilot. Yeah. The scouts have fucked up backs because for those who know, I used to fly scout helicopters in the Army, and you fly them like this. You literally fly like this because they were designed in 1958, not for humans. And it's literally a bench seat like this. It's and you sit there like this, and they call it scout hunch. And you'd meet these old pilots like Vietnam era and older, and all of a hunch. They walk, how you doing? Oh, you doing, girl? Like, what the fuck's wrong with you, bro? But VA doctors understand that. They know to ask, like, hey, what's to do with your back? You're a scout pilot. Yeah, let's get an x-ray of that. Yeah. And then on top of that, there's the massive amount of research the VA does on our needs. Somebody's calling us. Is that what you were me? Whatever. We're just doing this live. So sad. It's essentially live. No, I get it. All right. No, it's me too. We were not prepared. We're just pulling it. We just got into town. But again, and then there's the massive amount of research they do. And then, of course, the VA mental health care, they understand the veteran experience better than anybody. Bro, you have to explain it to a VA doctor. They know what you've experienced.
And when I was working over at Wounded Warrior Project, right, I got clued into the fact that there are civilian doctors who will not treat our most critically wounded guys because they have been Frankenstein back together inside. Yeah. And they're like, bro, I'm glad they saved your life. They've got so much going on under the hood. I'm afraid to even go in there. right?
Wow.
But a VA doc will be like, hey, let's look at your.
Yeah, we got
Right?
this.
I live in a rural area,
Yeah,
right?
that's the next
And,
one.
and so like, vets are funny because they always think the grass is always greener on the other side of the road. But I get my healthcare through a civilian healthcare system. And it's just like, hey, I need to go see an endocrinologist, and be like, well, that'll be 9 months.
Yeah.
VA would get me in faster.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, the same thing. That's the thing. I live in a major metro area in St. Louis.
Yeah.
The same thing.
Yeah.
It's months and months to get help. Everything's just better out there.
on United Healthcare.
Oh yeah, exactly. But my favorite one was I made a comment on social media, and a veteran was like, "It's such bullshit. I went to the VA emergency room. I had to wait 6 hours. Supposed to like." Bro, I fell down another thing you guys remember if you watch the show, I fell down, I don't know if you know this, I fell down my stairs right before the election.
Oh,
I was running to the studio, missed the step, for the top. Oh, yeah, the step.
Yeah.
Yeah, I bumped my head in the wall. I actually left a mark on the wall.
Yeah.
I ended up in a pile on the bottom.
Oh,
My wife comes down, she's like, you're going to the hospital. I'm like, my show must go on. She's like, no, you're on the fucking hospital.
Right.
So I get emerged. Fire department shows eventually to take me. I did not get seen for about 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah.
And I live in a major metro area.
Yeah.
If you live in a rural area, you're not getting seen.
Yeah.
You may have to get medevac. Who's going to pay for that?
Yeah.
And again, the VA provides this healthcare system that is not available for veterans and elsewhere.
Yeah.
And then we're talking about 10 million patients.
Mhm.
Now, why do they want to privatize? If you're a healthcare insurance, if you're easy government money,
Yeah.
easy government. And so,
Yep.
so that's the gaslighting we're seeing is there this lie that they're trying to tell us, oh no, we're not cutting your benefit.
Right.
As long as you say your benefit is, you'll see a doctor.
Yeah. You're just gonna have to get in the Soviet breadline
Right.
to wait like
Right.
7.
And don't worry, we got rid of the people to process your claim.
Yeah.
And that's the ridiculousness of the whole thing.
Yeah. You want to go to use your GI Bill? Bro, you're not going this year because it's gonna take 10
It
months.
take that much spread. So they're just, and I really do believe in my heart that the whole goal is to make the VA so unusable
They break it.
that they break it. And they say, well, we try to reform it.
Yeah.
All right, I have to privatize, and the propaganda is to convince our fellow veterans, right, and civilians who don't know any better, it's a good thing.
Yeah.
Hey, Army's got TRICARE.
You can't outsource this nation's responsibility to care for our wounded, injured, and ill. You can't send that off like that needs to rest solely on the shoulders of the American
The
people.
people who sent us.
Yeah.
It's not writing a check.
The VA is not right to a hospital. You go into the cancer, I went to the Boston VA and sat in the oncology clinic where, that's where you're getting their.
Yeah.
And, most places I go in the civilian healthcare treatment, you're in your own room, isolated and all this other stuff. They had those dudes in a big circle, all getting their chemo at the same time. And the banter was hilarious. It was like veterans supporting veterans. They're busting each other's balls. There's smiles on their faces. They're dealing with some pretty serious shit, but they were connected, right? And that's what I realized. Lucelli told me that. I was at the American Legion. He said, this is a system of veterans caring for veterans because, a third of the employees in the VA are
also veterans.
right?
Yeah.
So, I mean,
So that's why we're here. That's why we march. I know our time is, we got to walk through, but that's why we're here. And so the rest, I'll show you guys. Obviously, I don't know what we're putting in the show. We're making it as we go, but we're going to go to a walkthrough now. I'm going to show you a little behind the scenes, how we're setting this thing up, the people who are setting it up, in addition to this conversation. But this is why we're here. This is why I hope you watched the rally. If you didn't, it's available online right now. I think I'm the last speaker. You're speaking. We're here, a bunch of Joes. Yeah, a bunch of Joes. All right. Thanks, brother. I appreciate it. All right, man. Let's get to work, man. So that's Joe. That's a little bit about what we're doing here at the Unite for Veterans, Unite for America rally. I'm so proud to be part of it. I'm so proud that My Touch has supported us. Our friends have been very, very generous with their time. You'll see it on Midas Touch today. Check all the things you've seen. Again, it's such an important issue. And look, we veterans, we don't know why we're in the middle of so many things. This administration is doing so many things that affects veterans, but we also know we have a responsibility to use our voices peacefully and patriotically to push back against this, to stand up for all of Americans, those who are undervalued and underserved, the poor, the immigrant even. We have a duty to our nation to continue our service. And for many of us, that means standing up to an autocratic movement. So I'm Fred Wellman. This is On Democracy. Thank you for joining us again. Sorry, this show was a little bit more unpolished than we normally do, but I wanted to show you at least check in and see what we're doing. As always, we'll be here every Friday night at 7 o'clock Eastern. I will be in the chat if I can. Thank you to our sponsors. Follow us on the On Democracy channel as well. You can find all of my stuff there. We've got the new Sunday show. We're still going to be doing the Too Late to Cancel this Sunday from I think my daughter's apartment in Richmond. And so we'll still be doing Too Late to Cancel. We've got a great show planned for you to talk a lot about these issues as well and other things. If you haven't caught Too Late to Cancel, it's a fun show. We have comedians, we have musicians. It's going to be a blast. I promise you. I always catch too late to cancel. You could always follow me on all the Blue Sky and Twitter, everywhere else I'm there. It's FP Wellman everywhere you look. I am Fred Wellman. This is On Democracy FP Wellman. I will see you guys next week.